Hello everyone, and thank you for tuning in with me. It's gonna be one of those streams where we kick off the Hacker Summer Camp. That's right guys, it's Hacker Summer Camp time again. All the little hackers and all the big name hackers are all going to DEF CON and Black Cat and B-Sides in Vegas. And me, this is how I'm gonna spend my Hacker Summer Camp. This is exactly how I'm gonna spend my Hacker Summer Camp. At home, doing nothing but hacking things on stream. And we're gonna hack some... What are we gonna hack? We're gonna hack some TryHackMe machines today. And maybe some retired hack the box machines, maybe? Who knows? Who knows? Also, let me do something real quick. Let me do something real quick. Need to refresh my chat. But how is everybody doing today? Hoping everyone's doing well on this Hacker Monday. What's wrong with the multi-chat? I know it's working. Let's see. Hang on a second, let me do something real quick. There we go. Had to update it. Had to update it because I updated my Axel chat not long ago. We're just gonna kick back. We're gonna hack some things today. I don't know what we're gonna hack, but we're gonna hack something. I want to start off with doing a walkthrough on TryHackMe. And maybe doing a CTF. So, I haven't chosen what machine we're gonna hack into, but we're gonna do a lot of fun stuff today. And I guarantee everybody's gonna have a lot of fun hacking along with me. So if you have TryHackMe, if you wanna hack along with me, you can do so. This is all about learning, especially for me. I'm just a script kitten. I know y'all have heard the term script kitty. I just use the term script kitty as a term for, you know, hackers who don't really have the real skills to hack. They just rely on some shit they found on YouTube, right? Some really easy shit. I mean, there's nothing wrong with starting out with that. You can't just rely on that all the time. Some hacks are gonna require a lot of Linux knowledge, right? Some hacks are gonna require quite a bit of Linux knowledge. So you have to get to learn Linux. You have to get to learn other tools like Nmap. That's the first thing you need to learn is Nmap. That was legit. Okay, not gonna lie, that was not the first tool I learned how to use. The very first tool I've ever used was actually Shodan. And I actually have a lifetime membership on Shodan because it's that good of a tool. But I don't really use Shodan for anything malicious or anything like that. I just look up billboard cameras on Shodan. Not really to hack into them, but to look at them. I mean, hell, one of those billboard cameras was actually really easy ascent. Because I knew exactly where one of those billboards was at. Recognizing part of the environment. Shut up, phone! You're not funny. But anyway, guys, I'm actually waiting on my Parrot OS machine to do an update. I figured this would be enough time. 10 minutes is enough time. I wasn't planning on diving right into it until like 30 minutes into the stream. I always like taking the first 30 minutes and making them just chattings. Although I kind of wish more people would pop in. I don't want to be alone talking about all this stuff. Oh, also, type, I don't want people typing 1. That's racist. Type 2. Type 2 in the chat room. Or in the comments section on YouTube or Rumble. Type 2. Or actually type 32. If you're going to the 32-bit DEF CON this year. So hang on, let me adjust something real quick. Normally I read Friends, but after we finish up with the hacker stuff tonight, or today, or whatever time zone, we're gonna do nothing but raid hackers all week. So it'll be fun. I'm going to the DEF CON VR event Friday. That's kind of what I'm planning on doing. I'm gonna be too busy to spend the whole day attending the DCG VR events as part of the DEF CON's VR village. But I am gonna try to make it for the evening talks. One of my friends in the community, in the streaming communities, is actually going to be speaking there. Actually, I have 2 friends who have popped into my stream, who are doing some really cool things at DEF CON. So I want to do a little bit of a plug before we actually want to do that while on the I want to do that on the I want to show you guys on the thing here. Hacker Summer Camp Week, let's go! How's it going, Theo? Theo, are you going to DEF CON? Or are you stuck at home like I am? Alright, let me pull up my... Let me go ahead and pull up my web browser real quick. By the way, do you guys like my background? You're at home like I am. It's fair. Let me load up Firefox real quick. All the cool kids are staying home this year. Yes, we are staying home. All the cool kids be staying home. Yes, I know. I've got malware on my machine. It's not gonna harm me or anything like that. It's for me targeting other machines. I do have pet malware. It's the cutest pet malware. Winpeas, it's my favorite pet malware. I have no idea what room I'm gonna do. But I wanna get a look at what is going on DCG VR. It's been alright. It's been alright. It's been a crazy summer. So, for those of you at home, this is DCG VR. It's like DEF CON at home. They've been doing it since Safe Mode, I believe. Back in 2020, I think they've been doing it that long. And I've joined, I attended Safe Mode back in 2020, but never really attended the VR stuff until 2022. Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool. I'll post a link. And you don't even need a VR headset to participate. Just the mouse and a keyboard will do fine. Most of their talks will be on Saturday. And then the rest of the weekend is just hanging out. But it's really cool. Like, I highly recommend it to anybody staying home. Like, if you can't afford to go to DEF CON, at least participate in the VR stuff. Like, I've been doing... They don't just do the VR stuff during DEF CON weekend. They actually do the VR stuff every once in a while. Sometimes they do Halloween events. But yeah, they do a lot of cool stuff. Like, this was the event that did get me back into the hacker scene. And on DEF CON's website, I have a friend who's giving a talk. Let me see. So speakers. I actually have a friend who's giving a talk. And I'm gonna see if he's having it streamed on DEF CON's platforms. So I can watch. I had a little bit of a first look at his talk a couple of months ago. It's really cool. All these talks are really cool. Not gonna lie. There we go. So my friend Dwango AC, he has a tool-assisted speedrun bot. And he's giving a talk exposing speedrunning cheaters and troll trapping through task tools. As a matter of fact, let me do a shout out.
Good. Glad it's smooth. I'm literally running this crazy setup where I'm literally
is working in the... Theo is working their magic in the shadows. We'll keep the hacker vibes alive for him. Yeah, no problem. It's always nice seeing you. So trolls cheating in video games by passing tool-assisted speedruns off as human effort. Break leaderboards with stifle speedrunners. Why do they do it when they could make a cool game hack or test to show off their work? And how do you trap these tools? The answer is to use their own tools against them, often with popcorn bucket-worthy results, like taking down Guinness World Records. From a Task Videos member taking on 1980s dragster cheat, Todd Rogers, a passing mention of Billy Mitchell, and the TaskBot team investigating Super Mario Maker shenanigans. This talk covers several notable cheating incidents and concludes with a systematic takedown of a troll that chilled the Diablo speedrunning community for more than a decade. This talk includes several investigations he has been a part of in some capacity and will ultimately include additional references in the coming months. He's broken the reference out by game, presented in markdown format like the rest of this document. I would recommend looking through all this. Yeah, Dwango, the dude who runs the TaskBot online community, he is super chill. So if you have not followed him on Twitch or joined his Discord, I highly recommend it. Also, what is wrong with my chat? I need to do a thing again. Hang on a second, I need to do a thing again. There we go. How to fix something. Alright, so... enough plugs. Let's see what room we're gonna do on TryHackMe. I want to sort by the most popular ones. And I kind of want to do a walkthrough. Maybe not too easy of a walkthrough. Maybe a medium. Let's see what we got. So I want to do... Let's see, what do we want to do? Let's do a medium. That will be fun. But first, and by the way, do you guys like my desktop wallpaper? Hope you guys like my wallpaper. Alright, so let's open my VPN. What are we gonna do? What do we want to do? I think I know what we'll do. I know what we'll do. do server side. Do we want to do that one? This is just me. Indecisive as usual. It's typical for me to be hella indecisive. Okay. Ooh, this one's interesting. Local potato. How old is this room? Okay, this room is not that old. Not that old. Not that new. I think we'll do this one. Let's join this room. Alrighty. Hang on a second. I had a missed call. I'll call back after stream. So, a local privilege escalation vulnerability. Oh, this opens up a... I'll give this a... Actually, you know what? We'll keep it split screen. So, a local privilege escalation vulnerability in Windows was reported to Microsoft on September 9th, 2022 by Andrea Pierini at Decoder. I hope I didn't butcher the name. Pierini, known as Decoder_IT on Twitter, and Antonio Cocomasi, known as Splinter Code on Twitter. The vulnerability would allow an attacker with a low privilege account on a host to read, write arbitrary files with system privileges. Microsoft released a fix for the vulnerability in the January 2023 Patch Tuesday, and a working proof of concept was later released on February 10, 2023. The vulnerability was assigned CVE 2023-21746. While the vulnerability itself wouldn't directly allow executing commands such as system, we can combine it with several vectors to achieve this result. Conveniently, on February 13th, another privilege escalation proof of concept was published by Black Arrow Sec that abuses the store SVC service, allowing an attacker to execute code as system, as long as they can write a DLL file to any directory in the path. In this room, we will look at both vulnerabilities and combine them to get arbitrary execution as the system user. We'll need to deploy the VM attached to the task by clicking the start button, and it launched a split screen view of the machine. But if it gives us an RDP option, quite honestly, I want to use that option. So what we're going to do is open Remina. We'll do a new machine. TryHackMe. Local potato. We're gonna copy the IP address. Now let's get the name and password. In which case we have the credentials. User, uppercase, password, capital P, password, one, two, three. That's all there is to it. We'll save and connect. Alright, so we're in. Let's get rid of this split view. Before going into how the vulnerability works, we're going to do a quick refresher on NTLM authentication. The usual case of NTLM authentication involves a user trying to authenticate to a remote server. 3 packets are involved in the authentication process. Type 1 message. The client sends a packet to negotiate the terms of the authentication process. The packet optionally contains the name of the client machine and its domain. The server receives the packet and can negotiate the authentication was started from a different machine. The server responds to the client with a challenge. The challenge is from a random number used to authenticate the client without having to pass their credentials through the network. Type 3 message. The client uses the challenge received on the Type 2 message and combines it with the user's password hash to generate a response to the challenge. The response is sent to the server as part of the Type 3 message. That way, the server can check if the client knows the correct user's password hash without transferring it through the network. NTLM local authentication is used when a user tries to log into a service running the same machine. Since both the client and the server applications reside on the same machine, there is no need for the challenge response process. Authentication is instead performed differently by setting up a security context. While we won't dive into the details of what is contained in a security context, think of it as a set of security parameters associated with the connection, including the session key and the user whose privileges will be used for the connection. The process still involves the same 3 messages as before, but the information used for authentication changes as follows. Type 1 message. The client sends this message to start the connection. It is used to negotiate authentication parameters just like before. But also contains the name of the client machine and its domain. The server can check the client's name and domain, and the local authentication process begins if they match their own. The server creates a security context and sends back its ID to the client in this message. The client can then use the security context ID to associate itself with the connection. If the client successfully associates themselves with an existing security context ID, an empty type 3 message is sent back to the server to signal that the local authentication process succeeded. So let's have a look at the diagram here. All right. Since all the steps occur on the same machine, there is no need to follow the challenge response method as before. The machine can validate the security context ID for both the server and the client applications. The local potato proof of concept takes advantage of a flaw in a special case of NTLM authentication called NTLM local authentication to trick a privileged process into authenticating a session the attacker starts against the local SMB server. As a result, the attacker ends up having a connection that grants him or her or them access to any shares with the privilege of the tricked process, including special shares such as $, or $. The process followed by the exploit as follows. The attacker will trigger a privileged process to connect to a rogue server under their control. I'm trying to use gender neutral pronouns, by the way, guys. So I don't know why. I don't know why it's saying male pronouns, but whatever. This works similarly to previous potato exploits where an unprivileged user can force the operating system into creating connections that use a privileged user, usually system. The rogue server will instantiate a security context A for the privileged connection, but won't send it back immediately. Instead, the attacker will launch a rogue client that simultaneously initiates a connection against the local SMB server, Windows file sharing, with its current unprivileged credentials. The client will send the type 1 message to initiate the connection, and the server will reply by sending a type 2 message with the ID for a new security context B. The attacker will swap the context IDs from both connections so that the privileged process receives the context of the SMB server connection instead of its own. As a result, the privileged client will associate its user system with security context B of the SMB connection created by the attacker. As a result, the attacker's client can now access any network share with system privileges. Diagram. By having a privileged connection to SMB servers, the attacker can read or write files to the target machine in any location. While this won't allow us to run commands directly against a vulnerable machine, we will combine this with a different attack vector to achieve that end. Note that the vulnerability in the NTLM protocol is in the NTLM protocol rather than the SMB server. So this same attack vector could theoretically be used against any service that leverages authentication through NTLM. However, in practice, however, some caveats must be dealt with when selecting the protocol to attack. The proof of concept uses the SMB server to avoid some extra protections in place of other protocols against similar attack vectors, and even implements a quick bypass to get the exploit to work against the SMB server. While we won't go into these technical details in this room, you can read about them in this post. Local potato when swapping the context leads you to system. Look like that. I'll favorite that. Bookmark it! So far we have used local potato to write arbitrary files to the target system. To get a privileged shell, we still need to figure out how to write the use the arbitrary write to run a command. So recently, another privilege escalation vector was found where an attacker could hijack a missing DLL to run arbitrary commands using the system privileges. The only problem with this attack vector was that the attacker would need to write a DLL file into the system's path to trigger it. By default, Windows path will only include directories that only privileged accounts can write. While it might be possible to find machines where the installation of specific applications has altered the path variable and made the machine vulnerable, the attack vector only applies to particular scenarios. Combining this attack with local potato allows us to overcome this restriction and have a fully working privilege escalation exploit. As discovered by Black Arrow Sec, an attacker can send an RPC call to the SVC reboot to flashing mode method by the store SVC service, which in turn will end up triggering an attempt to load a missing DLL called sprintcsp.dll. I know you guys can't really see the diagram that well. But it's there. If you are not familiar with RPC, think of it as an API that exposes functions so that they can be used remotely. In this case, store SVC service exposes the SVC reboot to flashing mode method, which anyone can access to the machine. Anyone with access to the machine can call. Since store SVC runs with system privileges, creating sprintcsp.dll somewhere in the path will get it loaded whenever we call to SVC reboot to flashing mode is made. To make use of this exploit, you will first need to compile both of the provided files. sprintcsp.dll, this is the missing DLL we are going to hijack. The default code provided by provided with the exploit, will run the whoami command and output the response to C / program data / whoami all.txt. We will need to change the command to run a reverse shell. RPC client.exe. So this program will trigger the RPC call to SBC reboot to flashing mode. Depending on the version of Windows you are targeting, you may need to edit the exploit's code a little bit, as different Windows versions use different interface identifiers to expose SBC reboot to flashing mode. The projects for both files can be found on C:/tools /LPE via store SBC. Let's start by dealing with the RPC client.exe file. As previously mentioned, we will need to change the exploit depending on the Windows version of the target machine. To do this, we will need to change the first lines of this file right here in the RPC client /store SBC _c.c file, which is written in plain C, of course. So that the correct operating system is chosen. We can use Notepad++ by right-clicking on the file and selecting Notepad++. Since our machine is running Windows Server 2019, we'll need to edit the file accordingly. And of course, I recommend Notepad++. It's a good tool. It's a good tool for all your text editing and all that stuff. So let's right-click it. Let's edit it. I personally use VS Codium myself, but I do recommend Notepad++. It's a good tool. Alright, let's comment that out. And we're gonna uncomment define Win 2019. We're gonna save the file, and this will set the exploit to run the correct RPC interface identifier for Windows 2019. Now that the code has been corrected, let's open a developer's command prompt using the shortcut on the desktop. We will build the project by running the following commands. So let's exit out of this. Close this. We'll double click that. I'll go ahead and full screen it. So we need to cd into LPE. We need a cd in here. We need to run msbuild rpcclient.sln. That's the Visual Studio. That's the Visual Studio project that we need to build. We need to build it from that. So this will take a while, but not too long. What's building? Oh no. We're not gonna have fun with GCC. Because instead we're just gonna build it off the Windows compiler. Attention! Coming soon to a chat near you! In a world where code is king and bugs are the enemy, join Kiri Bloodrose at Hacker Summer Camp Week. Dive into the realm of software and game development where every line of code could be a masterpiece or a mishap. Will you join the quest for knowledge? Subscribe for exclusive perks and gear up at the store. Kiri Camp 2023. What? It's 2024! Get it right, Frostybot! Get it right! It's 2024! Things are different now! Oh, shit. Things are different now! The VTubers are rising up! In 2024! Hacking Walmart! In Minecraft! In Minecraft! Oh shit. Okay. Let's move x64 /debug /RPC client. Move that to the desktop. So the compiled executable will now be found on your desktop. Now we need to compile sprint csp.dll. We only need to modify the do stuff function on the main.c file in the sprint csp folder, which is c:/tools /lpes via store svz /sprint csp /sprint csp /main.c, so that it executes the command that grants us privileged access to the machine. For simplicity, we will make the DLL our current user to the administrators group. So here is the code with our replaced command. So we'll copy that. Okay, let's go back in here. LPE, sprint, and let's... Oh, we got Visual City on this thing too. Well, Doi, of course we do. So let's make some modifications. Replace all this code by your payload. Out of info, we need to make sure everything is correct. Great process. So we need to add this here. That'll run the command. And we'll just save it. We'll just go ahead. We're not going to copy the whole thing, but we'll just modify it as just that. So we now compile the DLL and move the result back to our desktop. Okay, so let's do we have the file in here? We do. Right, let's run ms build sprint csp dot ln. There we go. Errors. Oh, those are... Okay, so we're supposed to get the 6 errors. So we're now ready to launch the full exploit chain. So we're now ready to launch the exploit. We need to make sure we have the localpotato.exe exploit, the rpc client.exe, and the sprint csp.dll files on the desktop before proceeding. Which I need to do that. I forgot to do that. Oh, I forgot to do that. Debug RPC client. Hang on, RPC client. No, we did that one. Okay, sprint. Is that it? What the hell? Tire? PD, git move, x64, debug, sprint, and let's move it to the desktop. There we go. How do I forget to do that? Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So let's read through this some more. So we need to verify that our current user is not part of the administrator group. Let's run net user. Okay. To successfully exploit store SVC, we need to copy the sprint csp.dll file to any directory in the current path. We can verify the path by running the following command. We'll copy that one. Long, but we'll copy it. So reg query. We're gonna run a reg query right here. Run that. Actually, let's move over here. We want to make sure this matches the path in here, which it does. I believe, yeah, it does. So we will be targeting system root system32, which expands into the System 32 folder that all of you trolls like to trick kids into deleting. Not cool, that's lame. Don't do that. Don't make people delete System 32 unless they're running a virtual machine. I watched too many people delete System 32. It ruins the whole stream for everybody. Instead, have them install Gentoo. That'll induce rage. Install Gentoo on a virtual machine. Make your streamers install Gentoo. And watch them in absolute frustration. Watch the streamers in absolute frustration as they figure out how to install Gentoo. They made Arch Linux so easy though. Like, I can install Arch Linux no problem now. It's Gentoo and Linux on Scratch that will induce rage on your streamers. So make sure if you're gonna troll a streamer with, instead of forcing them to delete System 32, force them to install Gentoo. Because Linux from scratch is way too much frustration on a streamer. You want them to get frustrated at Gentoo. And then when they finally install Gentoo, you can just spam in the chat. Oh, sorry. I use Arch, by the way. Arch is best Linux. And then you watch the streamer stare into your soul, wondering, why? Why did you make me install this monstrosity of a distribution? Oh shit. Okay. I gotta get back on track with the hacker stuff. So we should be able to use any of the directories. However, just to be sure, we can try to copy the DLL directly into System 32, but our user won't have enough privileges to do it. Like so, watch. Watch. See? Access denied. But by using local potato though, we can copy sprint csp.dll into system32 even if we are using an unprivileged user. We want tac I sprint csp.dll, and output will be inside system32. Okay. And like we successfully copied it as an unprivileged user. So So with our DLL in place, we can now run rspc client.exe to trigger the call to SVC reboot to flashing mode, effectively executing the payload in our DLL. Let's do that. Huh? Well, that didn't work the way I hoped. That didn't work the way I hoped. What did I do wrong? Let me try to copy it. But supposed to have written it. Exception 1753. I did something wrong. I did something wrong. So let me check. Let me check something real quick. Maybe we wanna... Maybe I'll just copy the whole thing. Paste it. That was supposed to work. Try again. And we did the whole process again. I'm just gonna go through my terminal history. Rebuild it. 6 errors. Overwrite it. Okay, we're just gonna try this again. There we go. Now we need to verify if it works. What is going on with it? What's going on with this thing? It would know that's not the problem. That's the right code. So what's wrong with it? Save it. Thought I did save it. Whatever, we'll try again. There we go. Okay, so I didn't save the file, which I thought I did. I thought I hit Control S. Apparently I didn't. So that's why this didn't work as correctly as I thought it would. Okay. Alright, so we need to run net user users, net user and user, and as you can see, we have admin privileges. We have the admin privilege. Hell yeah. So to spawn as command prompt with admin privileges, you can just simply right click and run it as administrator using your user's credentials. Don't forget your credentials, guys. Don't forget your credentials. Seriously, don't forget. Don't forget. Okay, so let's... You know what? I'm just gonna run this as administrator. No. What's it showing as administrator? It should be launched as user. What do I do? What did I do? Okay, command prompt. Run as administrator. More choices. Where's my username at? There we go. That was a derp on my part, but that's okay. So you want a user, not admin. I didn't read. I kind of skimmed that part. I didn't read the username. But you know what? That's okay. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and get the flag. So I need to hide the flag, of course. Go into the desktop. You can get your flag there. Fire. Type. By the way, in case y'all forget, the equivalent of cat for Windows is type. So you want to use type. Don't forget it. Right, so we got the flag. Now we're gonna clear. Okay, go back. Now that we have understood how the local potato exploit works and how it can be chained with store SRV service to execute code as system, it's time to see how this can be detected within the system to prevent such attacks. As this attack involves an executable running in the command line terminal with arguments, two common ways to detect this activity would be by using the pattern matching tool Yeahhhh to detect the file patterns and examining the events generated by the execution of this hack tool, localpotato.exe. Stop discharging. Not right. I literally have this on my lap. As the attack uses the hack tool known as localpotato.exe, we can create a Yeahhhh rule to detect the presence of this tool within the system using Yeahhhh or other detection tools like Door to scan the host. I kind of do wanna apply the rules. Yeahhhh rule file extension. I don't do the Yeahhhh stuff as often as I should. So it's YAML, right? Or Yeahhhh? Yeahhhh, okay. So, okay. So we need to make all this. Make all these Yeahhhh rules. Alright, open up open this up. So we're gonna build this rule detect local potato rule. We're gonna save it. And let's look for a Yeahhhh. All types. And I'll just put this in desktop. There's all that stuff in here too. Process manager. No, don't disconnect my thing. Go. Dang it! So we have the rules set up here. So this minimal rule looks for string patterns in the local potato executable. Sigma is a generic signature language that is used to write detection rules based on the patterns found in event logs. In order to detect local potato in the network, it is expected to have centralized logs monitoring enabled in place. This Sigma rule, which it's subscription only, by the way, guys. But this is taken from the Sigma repository. In previous tasks, we learned that the local potato vulnerability is combined with store SVC to hijack Sprint CSP.dll and execute as the system. The following Sigma rule, taken from the official GitHub, can be used to detect this activity. And also, I'll bookmark all this. This is interesting. I'll try to post the links on my Discord server for you guys, or post them on YouTube. We can use these Sigma rules to convert into the detection monitoring tool in place and search the event logs to hunt for potential attacks. To prevent such attacks, consider the following points. Stay up to date with security patches. The local potato exploit targets a vulnerability in the Windows operating system. Ensure all systems are updated with the latest security patches to prevent attackers from exploiting this vulnerability. This vulnerability does not affect the patched OS. One way to prevent attackers from exploiting the local potato exploit is to implement the principle of least privilege. This means limiting user access to only the resources they need to perform their job functions. By doing so, the attackers are less likely to gain the elevated privileges required to execute the exploit. Monitor for suspicious activity. So, use tools like Splunk to monitor suspicious activity. Look for signs of a local potato attack, such as an unusual process activity or attempts to execute malicious code. So in this room, we have covered how local potato can be weaponized by combining it with a different attack vector to achieve privilege escalation. A brief and simplified explanation of each attack vector was provided, but you can expand on them by reading the original articles for both vulnerabilities. Both of them are on GitHub, so you want to check it out. I'll post links. I'll post links on the Discord and YouTube for those interested. Alright, we're done. We're done in this room. We're done in this room. We're done in this room. Alright. I don't know if we have enough time to do a CTF. Look at that. I'm still in the top 2,000. And top 1% on TryHackMe. I'm proud. I'm proud of myself. Alright. Let me check the time. I made great timing on that. And get that bot out of here. Thank you, dumbass. Coming into a hacker cybersecurity stream and you're gonna post that shiz? You're an idiot. You are an absolute idiot sending your bots over here to advertise. I really like the Frosty bot. The Frosty bot does a great job handling these spam bots. So how long ago? I don't want to end stream at 1 hour 35. I really don't. But we don't have enough time for a CTF today. We won't really have time to do anything extensive until Wednesday. And by Wednesday I will be tired from my dental appointment. So, what are we gonna do? What do we want to do? Do we want to laugh at security fails or something. I don't know. We have time. Do we want to read some security articles? I haven't decided if I want to take any calls or not. We might. We might. I don't know. I think we might. I'll just talk a little bit about this security fail that happened very recently, actually. Did anyone hear about this? Let me pull it up here. I've noticed this in the news recently. I'm not seeing a whole lot of media coverage over it though, which is really unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. I'm not seeing a whole lot of media coverage into it either. So let's sit and talk a little bit about this. Did anybody hear? Now folks, it's been the big talk ever since the 2018 election. Did anybody remember that when Brian Kemp went up against Stacey Abrams? There was all talks about issues with the voting machines. And then Donald Trump decides to try to... He saw that Georgia voted blue and decides to try to get involved with the whole trying to turn Georgia blue kind of thing. Well, here's the latest happening that happened in Georgia related to the elections. Let's put the PC shot on. If you happen to have been registered to vote in the state of Georgia, guess what? Your personal data may have been breached. It's actually true. Your personal data may have been breached by a bug that happened over there in Georgia. Secretary of State says a bug in the web voter portal briefly spilled personal data. Personal data got leaked out. And that was a huge blunder on the part of the state of Georgia. Now, I actually used to live down there. I can tell you, Georgia ain't all that fun. Georgia ain't all that fun. Now, I mean, granted, where I used to live, the little small town I used to live in, wasn't all that bad. Like, in retrospect, it wasn't all that bad where I was living. But everything revolved around Atlanta. Like, every single little thing in Georgia, it all revolved around Atlanta. They didn't pay too much mind to the smaller cities like Macon, Savannah, and all those other towns. So let's talk a little bit about that. Let's talk a little bit about that real quick before we raid out. So, here's what the article says on WABE, the PBS affiliate over in Atlanta, which is completely separate from their statewide public television stations network, by the way. Like, Atlanta has, like, its own PBS station that they keep completely separate from the rest of the state of Georgia's PBS network. I actually have one of those stations in my local area, believe it or not. So I could still watch Georgia's PBS stations where I live. Anyway, so let's read the article. Let's go ahead and read the article. And it seems the NAACP got a little pissed about the whole cancellation process as well. We know, they literally have personal data exposed, and you can actually cancel somebody else's registration in Georgia. So let's read this together. A new web portal designed to allow Georgians to cancel their voter registration has come under fire after a technical bug caused personal data to display on user screens. The Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, announced the new site it was Monday. Very recent. So they announced the new site. And what date was this? It was the 2nd. So it was last Monday. It was with the goal of allowing Georgia to easily cancel their voting registration if they move out of the state, or to cancel that of a recently deceased loved one. Users are prompted to enter their first initial and last name, as well as their county of residence and birth date. After that, they are prompted to enter the reason for cancellation and asked if they have a valid driver's license. If the answer is yes, they are prompted to type in their license number. If not, they are asked to enter the last 4 digits of their social security number or fill out a form to be mailed or emailed to the voter's county registration office. Now, this seems relatively secure, right? All you would have to know is your driver's license information or your social security number. But you know what happened? What it was doing? Instead of generating a fillable form, it was generating it with personal identifiable information already filled in, said Mike Hasinger, spokesman for the Georgia Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger's office. So yes, that data should have been masked, but it wasn't like all voters were exposed. On your screen, if you're canceling yourself, on your screen you would have seen your own data. That's it. Hasinger said the problem was quickly fixed, and the office recorded 33 attempts to use the website on Monday, last Monday. He said about 15 were internal tests of the system, which means that the other half could have been black hat hackers trying to get information about people. Think about it. Think about it. Like, 15 were internal tests. I mean, how do we know? How do we know if they didn't have? Well, I'm sure it's a pretty secure system. But if the other half of this tests were of the pen tests were like external, then it's highly possible then that there could be black hat hackers who could have been pen testing it from the outside. Nobody's voter data was exposed to the general public or leaked out on the internet, he said. It was available on their screen for about an hour, hour and a half. An hour and a half is more than enough time for somebody to get your docs. That's more than enough time for somebody to, oh, I don't know, attempt a revenge doxing with the knowledge about such insecurities in the system. Seriously, Georgia. Somebody could have gotten in and doxed, I don't know, random Georgians or somebody they knew in Georgia, getting their personal information. It's already bad enough that people can get your docs, and by the way, people can get your docs through public records somehow if they know who you are. If they know your basic personal information, these people can figure out ways to get your personally identifiable information. Take the British electoral rolls, for example. If somebody knows your full name, and they know your city, they can get your address, they can get your docs. I mean, that's what I remember diving into these forums, diving into learning about some of this stuff. I'm not gonna dive into the full details of how people can get your docs with your basic information. I don't want to encourage anybody to go out and doxing. We have a rule in my community against it. Anyway, I'm gonna continue going through this article that we're gonna read out. I'm sorry, I'm going on a huge privacy security tangent. But it has to be said. You've gotta, every single person on the internet needs to practice better OPSEC. Because if you don't, especially if you are a content creator, especially if you are a VTuber, keeping your identity safe. Your first and last name could be enough for somebody to, I don't know, get all your information and pizza bomb your ass. Please, protect your identity. Practice better OPSEC. Use VPNs. so that people, if you are streaming, people don't accidentally get your IP address. Because I've seen that happen with other streamers before. I've seen other streamers accidentally post their IP address on Google. Using search engines could be enough if you're not using a VPN. And if you're not using a VPN, be absolutely careful. Don't share your screen too often. If you're using a web browser or another laptop. Anyway, let's continue reading through this article. I'm going down a Kirsha rabbit hole here. Without Kirsha's right-leaning commentary. The Current reported on a separate but related privacy problem that could have exposed the information within the website's code. It was the same root cause that showed up in two places. One was visible to anyone, and the other visible inside the HTML code, but only if someone like a web developer knew how to inspect the HTML, as Hassinger said. Yeah, like, still visible to anybody. Either way, still visible. Anybody can just inspect HTML on their web browser and find weird code. Both issues have been resolved, but the flaws have highlighted complaints from Democrats and voting rights advocates about the service. The Georgia legislature, following former President Donald Trump's 2020 loss and false allegations of election fraud, have introduced new measures intended to make challenging mass numbers of voter rolls online easier. A 2021 Associated Press review of every potential case of voter fraud across 6 battleground states in the 2020 election found fewer than 475, including just 64 in Georgia, too few to have affected the election's outcome. President Joe Biden defeated Trump in Georgia in 2020 by nearly 12,000 votes. Republicans largely argued that states should do a better job of quickly removing voter registrations of dead people and those who move out of state to prevent voting potential fraud. While Democrats tend to say election fraud is rare and government should focus on ensuring anyone who wants to vote can do so. There's a little bit more. Tameka Atkins, the executive director of Pro Georgia, a left-leaning organization with the goal of increasing voting access to the ballot, said the website attempts to solve a problem that is not real. I am unclear about what the added value of this type of website and how it promotes the administration of our election and how it protects the vital and critical information that belongs to Georgia voters. Democrats characterize the site as an easy way to file frivolous voter challenges. The voter cancellation portal was already ripe for abuse by the very people submitting mass voter challenges meant to shrink the electorate by disenfranchising Georgians, said the Democratic Party of Georgia Executive Director Tolulope Kevin Olasanoye. I don't know how to pronounce the name. I'm butchering it. On top of that, its botched rollout has now jeopardized the voting rights and personal identifying information of Georgians across the state, rushing to implement election system updates to appease weird conspiracy theorists, raising unfounded concerns about non-existent voter fraud because they can't accept their candidate lost in 2020. Makes the situation both unacceptable and all too predictable. Hassiger said those kinds of complaints are overblown, arguing that canceling one's voter registration using the website is more secure than submitting forms by mail or email. This portal is protected and encrypted and is designed to let voters cancel their own registration or that of a recently deceased loved one quickly, conveniently, 24 hours a day over the internet, he said. If you wanted to cancel me, you'd have to know my name, the county I live in, and either my driver's license number or the last 4 numbers of my social. Completed requests go to the local county election office of the requested cancelee. The local official's job is to send out a postcard to the voter's registered address telling them that their cancellation request was received and to contact the office if the request was made in error. Hassiger said Georgians using the site to fraudulently cancel another voter could be convicted of a felony and sentenced up to 10 years in jail and fined up to $100,000. Atkins said those assurances don't comfort her. She said voters routinely throw out communications from the Secretary of State's office as junk mail, and the ability to cast a provisional ballot is no substitute. A lot of folks walk in and don't know that that is an option, she said. They're looked up on the voter rolls, and if a poll worker is not trained to check, they are turned away. That happens a lot. It's miscommunication. That's why we do so much voter education and voter information. So voting provisionally is not the answer. Adding additional barriers and making it difficult for Georgia voters to have their ballots counted is not the answer. So, not gonna lie, this is huge exploitation, and really bad exploitation written all over it. Oh, hold on. I'm not live on Vine. I'm not planning on being on Vine, except late at night. Let me close out the hack top here. But yeah, that's crazy. It's fucking crazy. An hour and a half. Voter information could have been leaked easily. Thankfully, I mean, I don't think it's been reported that it has, but you have to assume that your information did get leaked with reports like that. I mean, you never know. You never know. Anyway, it's hot. I don't want to stream very long. We've already done what we've done, so we're at the 2-hour mark. So at this point, let's go ahead and do some chat room shoutouts, some Twitter shoutouts, some Mastodon shoutouts. I see you, Frosty. I see you, Frosty. Kiri Hack Camp. I'm not doing game dev right now. Although I might do a little bit of learning Game Maker tonight. Alright, that being said, guys, let's go ahead and open up the chat. We only had B7H30 in the house. We always love Theo. Theo is like one of the best hacker friends ever. If you guys have not done so, please give Theo a follow.
I would, if I were you, do what you want with this. If it's a walkthrough, then you have beginners doing it. And one of the things I struggled with was, well, how come I'm running sudo with nmap? Nmap's a pretty basic command. I know the answer.
Not gonna lie, Theo's if you ever get into tech and you don't know who to follow, don't follow me, because I'm a derp. Only follow me if you want to watch a derp. Go follow Theo. Go follow Theo if you really want to get into learning all the techie things, all the hacker things. I'm just a script kitten learning all the things. But don't be surprised when his 2 favorite VTuber cohorts, his 2 favorite VTuber cohorts, Nori Kitty and Bright just come into the chat and unleash all the chaos with their angry faces. I highly recommend Theo. He's wholesome, he's a good person. He's a really good IT person. Very supportive if you ever need to get your foot in the door. So, we're gonna do more TryHackMe tomorrow. Probably about the same time. And that'll be it. Really. I'll play some Cyberpunk Wednesday, perhaps, in addition to some TryHackMe stuff. I gotta hop off of here in just a little bit. Got a Zoom meeting to attend. And it's more about networking with me for this Zoom meeting. I gotta get out of my comfort zone and meet some cool new peoples. So anyway, let's see. Do we have anybody on Twitter that we can shout out? Alright, we do have some people on Twitter, and we might have some people on Mastodon as well. And look at all the all the notifications I got. Okay, we do have a couple. We got somebody named Kick69 Fam. We got somebody named Emily James. That's great. A freaking graphic designer. That's nice. That's about it. Alright. So we're gonna get ready to raid out. Let me find somebody to raid real quick. We're gonna find someone to raid on both Rumble and on Twitch. Now, here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. We're not just going to raid just anybody. We're gonna go out and meet some new hacker friends. They could be going to DEF CON, they might not. But either way, we're gonna make some new friends. Same with Rumble. I want to put more emphasis on VTubers and cybersecurity with Rumble. And I see one person live on Rumble who's a VTuber. So on Twitch, we're putting more focus on streamers who are... Alright, Rumble will put more focus on VTubers. Twitch will put more focus on developers. Anybody who might be going to DEF CON, or anybody who's a hacker. So let's see if we can find a techie streamer on Twitch. And I'm sure there are some techie streamers on Twitch right now that are on my follow list. But I wanna... Okay, I do have a few people. We got JD does dev. That's somebody we can raid. Who else? I want to look for someone I'm following. Breaksec is live. We can go say hi to Breaksec. Who else? Looking for techie streamers here. Looking for techies. Looking for techie streamers. Modderpaul Scambaits is live. He's fun. He's a techie person, he's fun. Automated is live. So, I think we're gonna go raid Breaksec. And go kick in. Let me see how many people. Let me see if JD Does Dev is a affiliate yet. Harcronium, how's it going? Welcome. We're just about to raid out, so stick around and join the raid. I'm checking if JD Does Dev has affiliate. Okay, he already does. I haven't decided who I'm gonna raid. Let's raid Breaksec. He's popped into the stream a few times. I wanna go say hi to Breaksec. And we're gonna do the Hack the Planet raid message. So let's copy and paste it and go ahead and copy it. Copy the raid message. Go ahead and do that. And I'm gonna do the same thing and here. We're gonna do the Hack the Planet raid message. In both channels. So we're gonna raid Confused Coast on Rumble, and we're gonna raid BreakSec on Twitch. And I will be back on here tomorrow for more TryHackMe stuff. Let me get the raid alerts. Where's the raid alert? There we are.
Trashing our rights, man! They're trashing the fluid data! They're trashing! 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 Hide the planet! Hide the planet!
Shut up and get in the car!
Alright guys, thank you for tuning in with me tonight. I will be back on here tomorrow for more hacker streams. I need to go in here and let's raid this as well. Alright. Thanks everybody for tuning in with me. Stick around for the raid. Go say hi to BreakSec. And yeah. You guys have a good rest of your day or rest of your night or whatever time zone you are on. I will see you tomorrow. Hack the planet! They're trashing our rights. They're trashing our flow of data. Hack the planet! Thanks for tuning in, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye!